जय श्री परमहंस प्रभु जी का आचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतहि जो आएंगे सभी Arvind Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki, ISKCON BBD founder Acharya Prabhupada ki, Jashwat Brahmans Prabhujikacharya Ashtotra Shatha His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Siddhardas Thakur ki, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की, वृंदावन धाम की, रायपुर धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथ धाम की, द्वारकापुरी धाम की, गंगा यमुना की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की, कलयुग पावन नाम संकीर्तन की, श्री प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्कशन मैराथन की, जय निधाय गौर प्रेमानंदी। All glories to the single devotees, all glories to the single devotees, all glories to the single devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna. This evening we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 1, entitled Observing the Armies in the Battlefield of Kurukshetra, verse number 21 and 22. This is 1.5 verse. Arjuna Vacha Senayorvayormadhe Ratham Sthapaya Me Achyuta Yavad Etam Riksham Yodho Kaman Avastitham Kairmaya Saha Yodhavyam Asmin Rana Samudmaye Arjuna Vacha Senayoruvayor Madhe Ratham Sthapaya Me Achyuta Yavad Etan Niriksheham Yodha Kaman Avastitham Kairmaya Saha Yodhavayam Asmin Rana Samudmaye Arjuna Vacha Senayorvayor Madhe Ratham Sthapaya Me Achyuta Yavad Etan Niriksheham Yodho Kaman Avastitham Kairmaya Saha Yodhavyam Asmin Rana Samudmaye Arjuna Vacha engaged in the service of his friend to Dhritarashtra. In true fact, what we see, he is repeating to Dhritarashtra. So here what we see that basically in purport Prabhupada explains very nicely how the Lord is always looking for some opportunities to serve his pure devotees. And if we see in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is being addressed by different names. There are about 55 names. he is being addressed by Sanjay and Arjun. So here Arjuna is addressing Lord Krishna as Achyuta. So Achyuta means infallible. So here Arjuna is addressing Lord as Achyuta. So Prabhupada writes, the Lord never fails in his affection for his devotees. Thus engaged in the service of his friend out of causeless mercy. Then Prabhupada writes, did not hesitate to carry out the order of Arjuna as his charioteer. Still his supremacy is as Hrishikesha, the Lord of all senses, was unchallengeable. So what we see, Lord Krishna, here Arjuna is addressing as Achyuta. We should understand that this word, it derives not many meanings. So we should know why Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Achyuta, infallible. There are many, these things are given, definitions by different devotees. So it is mentioned that that person who never fails from his position, falls from his position, or whose glories never fades. In material world, what we see, even if one becomes a prime minister, a king, a big athlete, number one, so one day he has to come down to number two, and one day his position will go off. But Prabhupada in one purport he writes that Lord Krishna will be always that same Supreme Lord. Either he is in the lap of Yashoda, or he is with Arjuna, or he is assuming any other position. So he will be always the Supreme Lord. And we should know that we being conditioned soul, we are bound to do mistakes. We have 4 common mistakes we commit. To make mistakes, then we get illusion, then we have defective senses, and cheating tendencies. We have this. But the Lord is above these tendencies because he is above the 3 modes of material nature. So here Krishna, he has accepted this position of a driver. That doesn't mean that Krishna has left the supreme position. That doesn't mean that Krishna has now fallen down from his supreme position. That we should not assume. In material world, what we see, there is one nice story of Einstein. Most of you must be knowing. So Einstein, he always used to go and give classes on theory, relativity theory and all. So his driver also used to go and listen to his classes. So one time Einstein, he was feeling little drowsy, was not feeling so hale. So the driver, he told, today I will give you a class. You be seated in the back chair and you relax. Don't worry, because I am always hearing your classes. I will repeat as it is. So it went as it was desired. So in the end, what happened, there was a question answer session. So that time, the driver didn't know how to answer the question. So he told, your question is so simple, my driver who is seated in the back, he can answer. And he pointed to Einstein. So material world, what we see, even if one changes the position, but that cannot happen. But here what we see, although Lord Krishna is ready to accept any position for the devotees, for his devotees, because there are lot many examples in the scriptures. So mostly whatever activities what the Lord does, he does for the pleasure of the devotees. So he is interested in giving pleasure to the devotees. So here second, this thing what we can understand, that our acharyas they explain, the Lord comes in different incarnations. So also Prahlad Maharaj explains that Lord descends in 84 lakh species of life. Because there are 84 lakh species. Prahlad Maharaj explains that you descend in all species of life. So if we see, if the Lord descends in lower species, such as Kurma, Meena, Hayagriva, Hamsa, in one sense, these what we see, they are in a lower species of life. That we can't assume that yes, Lord has gone to a lower species. It is not like that. The Lord is, Prabhupada writes, he is always Rishikesh and he is always Satchidanand. The Lord is always Satchidanand, even if he is assuming incarnation of a lower species of life. He is not affected by the 3 modes of material nature. When Varahadev he came, he comes as a Matsya avatar. So he is not conditioned by nature, that nature. In material world, what we see, all the species of life, they are affected by their modes of nature. So, but that doesn't affect the Lord. And also in Padma Puran there is a story that when Vrindavan see and cursed Lord Vishnu to become a stone. So if that doesn't mean that Lord, he fell down from his position. So even he became the stone, still he was accepting the service from the devotees, and he grants boons to the devotees. So we should understand that the Lord, he never, even if he takes any position, even he is being cursed by anyone, that doesn't mean the Lord falls down from his position. So after the Mahabharata war, what we see, Gandhari, actually first he wanted to curse Yudhishthira Maharaj, but Krishna told, don't curse her. And she wanted to then curse Krishna in return. So what Krishna told, your curse doesn't affect me. In fact, my dynasty will be destroyed by my own will. Actually, Gandhari, she cursed Krishna that your dynasty will be finished. That will be annihilated. She cursed. But before that, Lord Krishna, he told, that is bound to happen by my desire, not by your desire. So this way, material world, what we see, Krishna, he never falls from his position. So what we see, Krishna, when Jarasandha, he came to attack for the 18th time. In fact, Krishna, he ran away from Mathura. And what we see, devotees, they celebrate Krishna as Ranchor Rai. If you go to Gujarat, most of the temples, they are Ranchor Rai. In Gujarati, they ask, who's there in the temple? The Lord answers, yes, Ranchor Rai is there. So this way, what we see, whatever situations Lord Krishna undergoes, but he never falls from his position. And also, what we see, Lord Krishna, he was stealing butter. That doesn't mean he's again fallen down. No. He was stealing the butter for the pleasure of the devotees, for the Braj gopis. Also, Bhishma Dev, in one of his address, he explains that Lord Krishna is the supreme brahmachari. He is infallible because Bhishma has taken the oath, and so he is called Bhishma. But in fact, Bhishma, he tells that Krishna is the real brahmachari because instead of even if he dances with the gopis, but he is never carried away by the gopis. So this way, there are many devotees, what we see, they have the understanding that in any condition he is infallible. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, "Na me karmani limpanti." That means I am not affected by any material karmas. We should understand in material senses that Krishna is never affected by material activities. Even whatever Krishna does, he is never affected by material activities. Like Prabhupada gives the example of the sun. When the sun comes in the daytime, the sunlights, the rays, they fall on all dirty things. That doesn't affect the sun. In fact, those things, they get purified. So we should understand, here Prabhupada explains, in all circumstances, Krishna remains supreme personality of Godhead. So Prabhupada, as I told you before, either he's a child, either he's a grown up. In any condition of life, Krishna is the supreme. In one language, there is a saying that even if one becomes the emperor of a state, still he remains the son to the father. So here also what we see, that Krishna is always the supreme. Even if one takes a higher position than Krishna, chastising him, and that doesn't mean that fellow has become supreme, no. But Krishna, he likes being chastised by his devotees. That we see. Prabhupada explains, in material world there are many atheists. They want to deny the Lord and they want to take the position of the Lord. And what we see, Hiranyakashipu. He terrorized the complete world. And he did such a austerity that he wanted to become immortal. Even Brahma, he told, I am not immortal. How can I make you immortal? So still he took some boons from Brahma to become immortal. So this way, material world, what we see, there are many. Even there was one king. He was telling the Brahmanas, you are all unchaste. King Vena. So he was telling, I am the supreme Lord. The king is the master of all the demigods. What he was telling them, that you should worship me. And even Vena, he also got so much in material illusion. He was thinking that he himself is the Lord. And in the Bhagavatam 10th canto, there is a story of Shugal, there was one king, Poundrak. There was one king by name Poundrak. So one time he sent one message to Lord Krishna in Dwarka. Poundrak. So he sent a message to Lord Krishna in the assembly. The messenger he came, and Krishna he told, okay, read out the message. The Poundrak he told, I am the real Vasudeva, and I have descended to this world to protect the pious and to kill the demons. So you better give up your weapons, otherwise you will be killed by me like the cats and dogs, and you will be prey for this all animals. So when all the these things, the Dwarkavasis, the Yadus, when they heard this, they had a very good laugh. So then Krishna said, okay, let him come and challenge. So the war was there, and it is mentioned in the battlefield. This Poundraka, he came with two dummy hands, with two weapons in the two hands. So Lord Krishna had a very big laugh looking at his duplicity. So material world, what we see, there are certain people, they have this tendency. So there Krishna, again he killed this Poundra. Similarly, we see Shishupal. When Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was doing this Rajasuya Yajna, and this Rajasuya Yajna, in that they wanted to do the worship of one supreme person, and in that this thing assembly, so all they were thinking whom to select as the supreme person. So that time his younger brother, so he said we can select Lord Krishna, and all the sages and all the kings, they agreed and they said Jai. But Shishupal, he was so much envious of the Lord, so he didn't like that. He immediately started giving Krishna bad names. So also we see there are such people are there in this material world. So material world, the people, even if they give any bad name, that doesn't affect the Lord. So there is a saying, so the dogs will bark and the caravan will pass. So there is a saying, Krishna also says, Naham said that he doesn't manifest to the Mudas. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samanita Mudoyam Nabijanati. Lord Krishna explains that I am not manifest to the foolish and rascals. So here what we see in fact Prabhupada writes that Krishna and the devotees of the Lord, they have a transcendental eternal affection for each other, and the Lord is bound by love for his devotees, and the Lord, he is ready to assume any position to serve the devotees. So this way here what we see, Krishna, he has taken the position of a charioteer. So here Arjuna is calling him as a charioteer, Achyuta, because he knows, Arjuna knows that Krishna will not make a mistake. So it is mentioned that in the war field, the charioteer is more as important as the warrior in the war, because the chariot depends everything on the charioteer, how he is running the horses, how he is deluding the enemy, how he is taking the chariot in the war field, just saving the warrior. So Arjuna, he knew that only Krishna is the best charioteer, and no one can take his position in leading the chariot in the war. And in the Mahabharata it is mentioned that this Mahabharata war was like a big ocean, and in that all these big personalities, Bhishma, Drona, Ashwatthama, Karna, they are like big teeming fish. And it is mentioned that Mahabharata war field, it was 32 miles long. And just to kill Jayadratha, you can imagine, they had placed Jayadratha in the back, in the end, so that Arjuna will not kill him by the end of the day. Still Krishna, he never failed. He took Arjuna by the end of the day. Before the sun was setting, Krishna, he took Arjuna there, and temporarily all what they saw, the sun is set, all they left the weapon down, but they saw again the sun is there. So that time Krishna, he told Arjuna, here is, just kill him. So what we see, Krishna, he is the best chariot driver he was for Arjuna, and Arjuna, he knew that Krishna only can save him in this battlefield, because what happens, mostly everything depends on the chariot, how he is taking the chariot. So here Arjuna had the full confidence that Krishna, he will save him from the enemies in all the circumstances. There is one very important one incident took place in the Mahabharata. So although Krishna was protecting Arjuna from all the warriors, so there was one snake. His name was Ashwasen. Actually, what happened? Most of his family was killed when Lord Krishna and Arjuna they stopped from Indra putting the rain. When all the Agni Devi was eating the forest, so this Ashwasena somehow he got saved from that forest fire, and he wanted to take revenge from. He wanted to kill Arjuna. He was a snake, so he went in the quivers of Karna, and he came in the guise of an arrow, which Karna wanted to cut the head of Arjuna. So when that arrow was about to be fired, so that time Ashwasena he spoke. See, I am going to cut the head of Arjuna, and don't worry about that. Now Arjuna is killed. So that time all the demigods they were watching from the heaven, and they were just shouting, "Alas, alas! Now what will happen?" Because they knew that it will never fail. This weapon will never fail. And what happened that time? Lord Krishna, he knew everything, past, present, future. So before the weapon could come, Krishna he just dragged the chariot into the earth. So the chariot went little in the earth, and the horses they sat on the ground, and that helmet it hit that arrow hit the helmet of Arjuna, and the helmet got totally burnt. So this way, what we see, Krishna by hook or crook, by any means, he saved Arjuna in all the situations. So here, what we see that Arjuna, because he chose Krishna, because he knew that Krishna will save him in all the circumstances. So Prabhupada writes that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rishikesh, the Lord of all the senses. And Prabhupada further explains the relationship between the devotee and the Lord is very sweet and transcendental. So Prabhupada writes, a devotee is always eager to serve the Lord, and the Lord obtains transcendental pleasure in receiving the orders of his pure devotees, although he is always the infallible Supreme. So what we see here, Krishna takes pleasure in serving the devotees, as per Prabhupada's understanding here, because now Krishna is serving Arjuna as a charioteer, and literally we can speak dozens of pastimes of Lord Krishna taking different positions to serve the devotees. So here what we see, Prabhupada explains that Krishna wants to serve the devotees, and he takes pleasure in taking order from the devotees. He wants that devotees should order him, okay, come on, do this, do that. So what we see in Vrindavan Leela, when Krishna was a child, so Nanda Maharaj, whenever he used to go out of house, he used to tell Krishna, get my slippers. And you see there is one nice picture, baby Krishna is just carrying that sandal, Nanda Maharaj sandal on the head, although he is Supreme Lord, and it looks as if he is unable to carry that. And there are many Krishna's this pastimes what we see. So 4 pastimes in Vrindavan they are called Madhurya. So Krishna has 4 extra qualities, that is Rupa Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, and Bhakta Madhurya. So in Leela Madhurya what we see, that Krishna's pastime, that Krishna every day he is herding the cows, he is taking the cows for herding, then he is giving pleasure to all the cowherd boys playing, making 2 groups and they are always playing. And also what we see, Krishna used to go to the house of all the gopis. Why? Just because they had that desire that he should come and steal. Actually Krishna, he had everything at home, he was not hungry, because the gopis they wanted Krishna come and steal the butter, eat the butter from their home. So it is in one sense Krishna wanted to give them pleasure. And also in Ras Leela what we see, when Krishna he called the gopis during the Ras Leela. So he said, okay, you have come, you are all chaste, please go home. But the gopis they didn't go home, They started again firing back Krishna. So what we see here, Krishna he did Ras Leela only for the pleasure of gopis. What we see, it was not for his own pleasure. So because the gopis, they wanted to dance with Krishna. And in fact we see Krishna, he did this Ras Leela for one day of Brahma. It is achintya. We can't conceive. It is mentioned that by our acharyas, that Ras Leela of Krishna, it went for the one day, and that one day of Brahma is 12 hours in one sense. So this way, and also there are many pastimes like when Madhuripuri, he came to Vrindavan. So Krishna, he bought some milk for him. When Madhuripuri came to Vrindavan and he was sitting near Govardhan, Krishna himself, he came and he gave him the nice milk. So in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes also, so there are many pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just acting for the pleasure of his devotees. So it is mentioned that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so sometimes he used to fold the cloth of the devotees on the bank of the Ganges when they used to go for bathing. So when the cloths, they were dried, he used to fold for them. So it is mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavad. Also there is one nice pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is called Shatprahariya Leela. That for 21 hours non-stop, Lord Chaitanya, he called all his intimate devotees and he was revealing their past life and whatever happened in the present life, what happened. And one by one he was calling them and he was telling what happened in their life, like for Srivas Thakur, Gangadas Pandit, then Haridas Thakur. He told all, so what happened in their life. So this is a very big pastime. And what we see, Krishna, he was giving pleasure to all these devotees. And the devotees, whatever they are getting, he was eating everything. So it is mentioned in the beginning of the Shatprahariya Leela. So the devotees, they were getting so many items, from bananas to sweets, from milk, curd, everything he was eating, literally like Govardhan. So just to give the pleasure to the devotees. So Lord Chaitanya, he was accepting everything, literally. And in that pastime, what we see, Lord Chaitanya, he fulfilled the desire of all the devotees. Also many devotees had their some material desires. Some wanted their mother or father, in-laws to become devotees. This way, Lord Chaitanya, what we see, he fulfilled their desires. And the height, what we see in Chaitanya Leela, that Haridas Thakur, he wanted to leave his body in the lap of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, one time Haridas Thakur, he went to visit Haridas Thakur because he was not allowed to enter Lord Jagannath temple. So the Lord himself used to come out and he used to give darshan to Haridas Thakur at Siddha Bakul. So one time what happened, Haridas Thakur, when Lord Chaitanya, he came to meet him. So what Haridas Thakur, he told, except for my mind, everything is alright, although I am looking not so hale. So he was telling that I couldn't chant properly. So we can understand, although he is Namacharya, he is telling in that manner. And his desire was that, looking at the face of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to leave the body. So very few can desire like that, and very few will have that opportunity to leave the body in the lap of the Lord. And this way, just looking at the face of Lord Chaitanya, anyone knows what Haridas Thakur uttered while leaving the body? What name he uttered? Anyone can recall in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioned. So this is one question for all of you. So this way, just seeing the moon-like face. So I will tell in the end, so all you should know. So just seeing the face of Lord Chaitanya, he left the body. And what we see, Lord Chaitanya, he personally, he gave him the samadhi. He took him to the ocean, leading a big kirtan. And he told, on this day onwards, this ocean will be pilgrimage for people. Now also, if you go to Jagannath Puri, many people, they go to the ocean first, they bathe, and in that same cloth they go and they visit the Lord in that same wet cloth. So thereafter, after giving him samadhi, what we see is, personally Lord Chaitanya, he went to Anand Bazaar and he begged to the shopkeepers literally for prasad, and he himself, he served all the devotees. So this way, what we see, the Lord, he takes pleasure in serving his devotees. And also what we see, there is always competition. So the devotees doesn't want to take service. In Vrindavan, what we see, literally, there are many pastimes of many Goswamis. Like Raghunath Das Goswami, although he was there for 40 years. Raghunath Das Goswami lived in Vrindavan, it is mentioned, for 40 years, towards the end of his life. When Lord Chaitanya disappeared, he came with the intention of, doing suicide, jumping off Govardhan. We don't know what time, how big was Govardhan that time. So he came with that intention. But the other devotees, they solaced him, because you have seen lot many pastimes of the Lord. So better you, every day you give classes. And this way, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also, he was the one person hearing from Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami, in the olden time, they didn't have, their bhajan kutir, whatever. So what we see, Raghunath Das Goswami, he used to sit beside this Radha Kund, and he used to be in his samadhi. And oftentimes the tigers, they used to come in the evening just to drink the water. And Lord Krishna had to stand there, with his stick, so that tigers will not hurt him. And one time Sanatana Goswami, he saw this, what is happening. The Lord has to come and take care of Raghunath Das Goswami. So again, one time what happened, again Raghunath Das Goswami, in the daytime, in the sun, he was sitting, and he was in trance, in meditation. So that time what happened, it was a very daytime, hot sun, summer sun. And Radharani, she was just standing with her sari, just giving him shade. And Radharani, she was perspiring. So again, this Sanatana Goswami, he saw for the second time. So what he felt, now I should tell Raghunath Das Goswami what is happening. So he told Raghunath Das Goswami, now here we are taking service from the Lord. Actually, we have come here to give service to the Lord. So there is, Prabhupada writes, there is a competition between the Lord and the devotee to render service. So Sanatana Goswami, he told Raghunath Das Goswami, so you better build a small bhajan kutir, and you do bhajan in that. In that way, will not be just unnecessarily taking service from the Lord. Also, when we go to Nandagram, so we have Ter Kadam. Ter Kadam also, there is a very nice pastime that actually Sanatana Goswami, he was accepted by Brajavasis as their guru. And Sanatana Goswami, he was not living in one place. So he used to go to all the places. Actually, one time it is mentioned that Sanatana Goswami, every day he used to go around Govardhan. Then he used to come back to Vrindavan. After some times, he started counseling the Brajavasis, looking after their welfare. So that way the Brajavasis, they were very much obliged to him. Because he used to go every family and used to ask what is happening, how is their farming, how their children are doing. So he was very much intimately associated with them. So one time, Sanatana Goswami, he was about to visit Rupa Goswami at Ter Kadam. And Rupa Goswami, it is mentioned that he used to do Madhukari not every day. Every third, fourth day, he used to go to there and he used to take some Madhukari, and he used to put that roti in the water, because they used to get very hard, and he used to eat that. But the day when he knew that Sanatana Goswami is going to come, so he was just literally, he was thinking in the mind, so I have to cook something for my elder brother. So when he was thinking in that manner, Radharani herself, she came in the guise of a small gopi, and she told, our cow has given birth to a baby calf, and our mother has sent this some rice and milk for you. And in the olden time, what we see, Prabhupada writes, for a sadhu, anyone who was giving one glass milk and roti, people were not objecting. Okay, they used to give freely. So here, Radharani, she came and she told Rupa Goswami, this is being sent by my mother. And that time Rupa Goswami was busy writing. And what she told, if you are literally busy, then I'll cook it and I'll keep it. So this way Radharani, she cooked the sweet rice and she went away. So in the afternoon when Sanatana Goswami, he came, so Rupa Goswami, he offered him that kheer. And now you can imagine that kheer was cooked by Radharani. So the moment he ate that kheer, so he got this Ashtavikar, the 8 symptoms, what we say, Satvik Vikar we call. And he was thinking, my brother, he is not a cook. How come he cooked such a nice kheer? So he wanted to know the formula. What all the things you have put. So then he accepted, he says, this I didn't cook this. Actually one gopi came and I was busy in my writing. She told, I will cook it for you. So then Sanatana Goswami again he went back reverse. Then he meditated as who was that gopi. Then he came to know it was Radharani. So this way what we see that the Lord, they take pleasure in serving the devotees. And many devotees, they have this personal experience. And here what we see further, even one time Sham Sundar Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, Malti Mataji's husband. So one time he was visiting South Bombay, this one temple in Chowpatty temple, Radha Gopinath temple. So he was telling Radhanath Swami Maharaj that one time Prabhupada, he came to Bharati Vidya Bhavan and he had one desire that there should be one temple in South Bombay. So he was telling after many years to Radhanath Maharaj, yes, now we have one temple here. It was Prabhupada's desire. So in that sense, if we see, so Prabhupada, he did so many things. And literally, in one sense, Lord Krishna, he fulfilled most of his desires.
Even the Jew temple.
Jew temple, yeah. Okay, you can mention some pastimes about Jew temple.
Yeah, pass me.
Yeah, he told that it is not to leave this place.
So, Sumati Maharaji was very close by the Jew temple. So, of course it wasn't a temple at that time. So, it was just some forest, basically just so jungly. So, he used, sometimes he would go directly to Sumati Maharaji's house. And he would pass this property. And he would think, this would be a wonderful location for a temple. And indeed, many years later, when he came back to Bombay, he saw this place. And he, of course, we know the story. It was very difficult, but he got the place. So Krishna fulfilled that desire also. Also, one time, one devotee was telling that when the municipality, they came to break down the temple. Prabhupada, he requested the Lord, don't leave this place. Prabhupada, he told the deities, don't leave this place, I am going to build a temple for you. So even Prabhupada, he gave the words, Yeah. So now here, so now we'll go to some other these things. Here Arjuna, he is now, in the second part will come, Arjuna explains that I want to see who are all interested in fighting against me. So here the one word comes, Yodhavyam. So Yodhavyam means Arjuna wanted to see whom he should fight in this war. As so many warriors had assembled there, Arjuna didn't want to fight with his enemies, such as Bhishma, Drona, because they are worshipable to him. It is like what we call, it is against the etiquette to fight. And also, what we see in the next verse, it will come, Dhritarashtra Durbuddhe. Dhritarashtra se Durbuddhe means, it was the plan of Duryodhana. Durbuddhe means, one is Subuddhi, one is you can, and then one is Durbuddhi. Durbuddhi means the lowest intelligence. Prabhupada in one of his lectures he explains that it was because of this low intelligence of Duryodhana. So all this war took place. So Arjuna, he didn't want either the kingdom, anything. And actually he explains Kair Maya Saha. That means he is questioning Krishna. What we see in the second part of this shloka. He explains Kair Maya Saha means, in Sanskrit there is another word similar, Kinkara. Kinkara means what should I do? Now Arjuna, he is putting one indirect question to Lord Krishna. What I should do now? That is the intention of Arjuna, just to tell Krishna, I am now in such a position because I have to fight such a ghastly war. So here, what we see, Arjuna in one fact indirectly he is addressing Krishna that what I should do now. Now Krishna, he should take a decision whether I should fight or not. So because he was totally dependent on Krishna. And this way, in one sense what we see, that Arjuna, he didn't address out of his own whimsical destiny. In this verse we should understand, out of loving affection, he addressed the Lord. Let just take my chariot in between the armies. Let me see who are interested in this war. So this way, what we see, if we see, in one sense, we see Prabhupada, he gives a clear picture how Krishna, out of love for his devotees, he is ready to accept any position. And also Prabhupada explains that in all circumstances, Krishna is always Krishna, and he is the master of the senses of all. So here in the end, Prabhupada writes, also, although there was no question of peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they are bent upon demanding an unwanted war. So here it is mentioned that although there were many people who are supporters of Duryodhana. In one sense, what we see in this war, in one sense Duryodhana was not powerful because he allured many people to fight. He called for many of other people to, and Bhishma, Drona, and Kripacharya, because they were living with him and they were compelled to fight in one sense. Because in one sense what we see, Karna, he was allured, Ashwatthama, he was allured for position. So Arjuna, in one sense, he wanted to see who are all these useless people who are supporting Arjuna in this unwanted war. Actually, Arjuna was very much surprised. How come so many these people, other warriors, they want to just help this Duryodhana? So that he was, in one sense, he was curious to see who are these people. He wanted to see them. So Hare Krishna. So the time is about to finish. We have about 5 minutes. So anyone has any comment, question? So you have question? Here you can. Hare, here.
Thank you for the class. It's not more of a question rather than you said Haridas Thakur had said something before he left the body. Just wanted to know what it was. The word that Haridas Thakur had said just before he left his body.
So anyone can recall? No one can. Even by Krishna's arrangement, I also forgot. Actually, Lord Chaitanya, he said Jai Jai Haridas. Lord Chaitanya, he glorified him, and he said Jai Jai Sachinandan. He just taking the name Jai Jai Sachinandan, just taking the Lord's name Jai Sachinandan. He left the body. Yeah, Jai Sachinandan. Jai Sachinandan. So Haridas Thakur, he had that opportunity. Yeah, his first time is.
Although this is a very serious thing, as Bhuvaneshwar informed us, it was 640 million people out there
64 million.
waiting to kill each other while Krishna and Arjuna were having this discussion. It is a little bit almost amusing that Duryodhana is somewhat afraid. He's very fearful because he knows it's not very likely that it'll win. And on the other hand, you have Krishna, who's with his old friend and having a very, not exactly relaxed conversation. It's probably an intense conversation. He actually has the nerve to talk in such a situation after this so, I don't think he even anticipated it. But this is an interesting contrast between the two parties. You have one side, the devotee, and one side that basically representative Kali on the other side.
So also, like Krishna had promised this Kunti Maharani that all her five sons will return back live. So that is also, in one sense, it is an infallible statement. Achyuta means. So that is also one statement that he had told her that I will get you your five sons back. Although the five children of Pandavas were killed by Ashwatthama, but the five Pandavas, they came live from the war. So anyone wants to share? Any comments, folks? Hare Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita ki, Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.